All right, we're live. Hey, folks, happy Thursday.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey. Hope everybody's doing well. We're almost at the weekend. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. So, we have with us today. We have Mr. Dave Levine from Dave's Guitar Channel. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing, Hack?
Awesome. So, yeah, because it's getting near that time, we decided to do a little year in review. And
Yes.
we're going to look at, we're going to start with some of the music that came out this year. And
All
then,
right.
and then eventually I thought, let's talk some gear because I know people are real interested in that too. Just bear with me a second here. Just want to make sure everything's good.
I'm everywhere, Krell.
A Krell bar's in here.
Yeah.
How's it going, Krell bar? Yeah, actually, before we get in all that, let me just pop in the chat here. There's been a lot of conversation going on before we even started. So let me just say hello to some of the people that we got in here. Joe Hervey 84, hey buddy. Music Therapy Laz is in here. Jack the Rabbit, nice to see you.
Ricky Compton.
Oh, Ricky Compton is in here. All right, let me just go down. Man, you guys been talking up a storm here. Terry Himes is here. Edwin Crane. Lefty Mike. Take Flight Music Studio. Welcome.
Let me tell you paradise. He has his own theme song. Strictly what I'm thinking.
All right. Cool. What else we got? Crowbar, of course. Juan at 31, Dale Palmer, Paul Liu, and that's the first of the jumps.
Janice is here.
Oh, is Janice here? Welcome, Janice. Yeah, if I miss anyone, just let me know. Headstock Harem is here.
Yeah, Headstock Hawaii.
Blue is in here. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Russ Markart just popped in. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, so I actually did research for the show, which I never do research for any of my shows, so this is a first. Hey, and there's Quentin James.
Quentin, what's going on?
Ladybug, nice to see you. Gary Holt, Six String Brian. Cool. So I did a little bit of research. So because we were doing the music, the year in music, I just did a search and kind of got the names of what are some of the biggest artists this year, had the biggest records, made the biggest impact. So I'm just going to run through this list. Dave will give us 2 cents. Hopefully he's heard of some of these people because I know I didn't until I looked up the list.
Right, exactly.
And see what we got here. So this name, I know you know because you even mentioned it to me the other day. Billie Eilish.
Yes.
Okay, that now you were saying
oh no, she's not Canadian though, right?
No, she's not Canadian.
Okay.
She's a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
She's probably got the biggest album of the year from all accounts. And I don't know, have you seen any of her stuff? I know you're teaching her music, but
oh yeah. Yeah, because I teach someone that likes a lot of the songs, and right. It's some of it's cool, some of it's like ethereal, a lot of it's weird. It's like trying to be dark and brooding. But there's some cool ideas. But like honestly, if somebody handed you like that album in the 80s and said, here's this girl's record, you're like, oh, this is a cool demo. What did she do this in her bedroom? It sounds very unfinished at times. And it's basically like, it's very millennial-esque.
Yeah.
It's very like, oh, I'm brooding. I'm so dark. Okay.
Have you seen any of her videos by any chance?
I've seen a few. Yeah, because the student of mine pulls it up on YouTube.
Right. She's a 17-year-old kid. She's like what you said, the brooding, the depressed, everything right. Very gloom and doom. She's like right. A teenage Marilyn Manson, In the visuals of her videos, they're almost like like sort of kind of like horror movie almost.
Right. Yeah. It reminds me of the Grudge.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, the only thing I knew about her before I started kind of digging in a little bit was she had that one song, Bad Boy. And I heard it like snippets of it, and then when I'm watching the video, she's got a nosebleed going on, blood on her face. It's like even that song has to have like a negative. It's like,
yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm so important, and this is my message, and I gotta make sure that every lesbian in high school likes me. It's just, yeah, it's how it comes across to me. It's very there's like one or two songs that I actually like the changes, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then the song doesn't go anywhere, and I'm like, yeah.
well,
I have to teach a lot of new stuff. So I'm always like, when someone plays me stuff, I'm just like, okay.
but she's not singing; she's whispering.
It's a lot of talking in tune, and there's some weird stuff with it where, again, it's like horror movie stuff where she's singing like a whole step away from her, so it's like an odd harmony to hear that so close, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
and again, it's kind of cool at the same time. It just it's just a little kitsch.
yeah.
It's like trying to be cool at the same time, which was what I don't really like.
I'm just surprised that she is as accepted as she is doing that type of material and having that type of a visual. That's what's
Well, the thing is who else is out there?
well,
Well, we're gonna find out, I guess. But I can tell you right now, it's one of the only new highly contrived would be right. Take flight. It's one of the only bands that's kind of not pop just breathing the absolute horseshit that the labels think are cool. You know, it's like I saw a video on YouTube. You know, like when you go on YouTube,
yeah,
and it's like, you know, you get the videos, and sometimes the videos are like aimed at you. Like, if you're watching too much porn, I'm like, what? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it's like, you know, they had a video, and it was Taylor Swift, and she's like, I'm working with who's the guy that did the Phantom of the Opera? What's his name? Somebody, what's Krellbar? What's the name of the guy that did? Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, okay.
She's like, I'm working on a record with Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm like, yeah, two shitbags. You both suck. Who cares? But it's like, oh, I'm so popular now, and Andrew Lloyd Webber stinks. Like, I mean, you're gonna compare him to, like, you know what I mean? I can't even go off on Andrew Lloyd Webber. I cannot stomach it.
Yeah, I was real surprised at her general acceptance. But like you say, because there's not a lot out there. But I don't know. It just I was very surprised when I actually dug deep and saw what she was, and yeah. Now
it's very, it reminds me of a little bit. It reminds me of, who's the girl that did Royals?
Oh, Lordy.
It's the same shit. It's like, you know what? I'm influenced by Lord, and I'm going to come out and do it. And what people don't realize is Lord is really Randy Marsh. That's a South Park joke. If anybody watches South Park, you get it.
I don't get it. Gotta watch South Park.
It's hysterical.
Now, one of the completely other extreme from someone who's whispering and doesn't really have like a full band, and the instrumentation too, super sparse, right? Going to the complete other extreme, and which this is a great artist as far as I'm concerned. Brittany Howard. Now, do you know who that is? Now, okay, if you don't know who it is,
hold on, I have to think for a second. I know who Brittany Daniel is.
Want me to give you a hint?
Go ahead.
Alabama Shakes.
Oh, yes, the guitar player singer. Yeah. I knew I heard that name recently.
Yeah, well, I guess this was a solo effort.
Okay.
Much more R&B. She's got the whole band. She can sing.
Yeah. Oh,
she can play. Like, she's actually singing. There's real musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, she was great in Alabama Shakes.
Oh, yeah. Did they break up, or has she just gone solo? What happened?
I have no idea, because I wasn't really following that band, but I would say, like, the reason I brought her up was you don't hear people saying she's fantastic. she's this. She doesn't make any lists. And why? Because her looks. She's not. And then John, when we did the blues list, it's like Samantha Fish. Oh, yeah, she's the number 7 best blues guitar player. Best blues guitar player where? In the room she's in, and there's only 7 people? I mean, it's like she's not that great. And there's plenty of female players like Brittany Howard that are just far better but get overlooked because it's just a popularity contest.
You know, in her case though, I mean, I think because she's so, I mean, she's fantastic in the Alabama Shakes. I mean,
Great.
And you know, I think her talent, people will hopefully, you know, that are that shallow will see past that. And this is a really, really great artist, and like her for what, you know, what she actually does. But yeah,
no, great. I think that's great.
Surprise, man. Great vocals, talented writer, singer. She's got it all, man. She's amazing. The other artists that popped up, you know, these are names I'm sure you've heard. Ariana Grande, of course.
Horrible.
You know, Nickelodeon kid, you know, grew up to be.
Ariana Grande came up with a song where she's just talking about like having money and being able to get everything she wants to get. But basically she just stole the song My Favorite Things. Okay. You know My Favorite Things? Sunshine on that's the was it with Rodgers and Hammerstein or something?
Yeah, something.
If you want to hear a cool version of the song, John Coltrane does a great version of it. But listening to her sing it, she's just vapid and terrible. And I mean, the whole music industry is just junk. Just garbage.
You know, the other artists that came up were, you know, basically they're rapping with an R&B beat. People like Post Malone. Who else I got here? Khalid. And they're just sort of basically rapping, but kind of, I don't know, it's a rap, but they're almost kind of sing rapping, you know what I mean? With a groove behind them. And that stuff, I can't listen to that stuff. It's just, I can't. I want to hear band. I want to hear production. I want to hear, you know what I mean?
So 2019, if you go look up the albums that were released this year and then go back 20 years or 30 years,
oh man,
40 years, and look at the albums that were released in 1 year, you're going to be like, are you kidding me? It's just really rotten. And, you know, it's funny. People, and some like young kids will be like, you just don't get it. But when you start, you know, when you work in music and you understand music, you get it. Like, there are songs in all years that are just good songs, but it's like this really great material back in the day. Like, there's more color to the chords. There's more harmony. There's just something there.
Well, one thing that you and I have in common, I really love what people would call yacht rock today.
Oh, it's the greatest.
I love that stuff, man.
It's the best.
You know, Poco, Bread,
Best.
America.
Yeah. In fact, I was talking about a song today, and you hear all these songs today. They're all so brooding. I'm so sad, and my life is so. It's like, yeah, spare me. You want to hear sad? Go listen to "Alone Again" Naturally by Gilbert O'Sullivan. That's the saddest song of all time. Yeah. Unbelievable. The song rips your heart out, but what a beautiful melody in those chords. When he gets to like that, and I hate to do this, but when he gets to that, when he goes, alone again, naturally, the C7 flat 9, come on. The only time you're seeing a C7 flat 9 in today's music is if somebody played the wrong chord. Exactly. Yeah, it's just not happening.
Exactly.
Anyways, what other music was there?
Well, that's all I could stomach, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just I always think that music is cyclical and that things will come around and be good. When you think about like music the evolution of music. And this is something people don't really talk about. But, you know, the 50s rock and roll really didn't come into full play till the mid 50s. You know, you still had Sinatra around that time. That was pop radio. But the 50s rock and roll didn't come until the mid 50s. By the early 60s, when the Beatles come out, it's gone. And those guys are then treated like those are oldies. I mean, if you think about Sha Na Na, Sha Na Na's playing Woodstock in 1969, playing oldies 50s music.
Right. Yeah.
That's not even 10 years old.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing when you think about it. It's like, that's oldies. That would be like somebody saying, oh yeah, my band does a Soundgarden tune. Oh, you guys play all the oldies.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's 20 something years ago.
That's right.
95. What it was 95, 24 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's nuts. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
But
then you think about it, in the 60s evolved, because when the Beatles first came out, it was very, I want to hold you, you know, very pop and goose step mama. Oh, wait, that's the Ruddles. But by the time they got to rock and roll in the late 60s, that changed all music. And then and then the 70s took from there. And then the 80s come, and the 80s really just bring back the 60s. But they put a bunch of sheen on it. When you think about, like, what were the hits? There was a lot of hits. Always something there to remind me. That was a hit from the 60s.
Yeah.
You had
the British stuff you're talking.
Really, he was really saying something. Remember that?
You up, never gonna put you down.
Oh, Rick. Well, that's an original song, though.
No, but I know, but it's got that
right.
Come
and
out.
so did So True. Funny how it seems. That had like that 60s soul.
Yeah, a lot of that came about that time.
Yeah, so a lot of so it was already being cyclical. And then when the 90s came, the 90s kind of brought back the grunge sludge 70s.
Right.
You know, the brooding 70s. And then after that, we've just been on a shit storm downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are good things you can find here and there, but I'm just saying the generality of it all.
Let me just say hello to some newer people that popped in that I haven't gotten to.
Hold on. Dale Palmer, I agree 100%. The late 60s, when you had bands like the Rascals and the Beau Brummels and Love and Spoonful, there was a lot of real good originality. And the Stones were coming into their own, and the Beatles were coming into their own.
Okay, Paul Lou is here. Welcome, Paul Lou. Dale Palmer, thank you for being here. Janice Lala is here. Just running down here. A lot of people. Ladybug is here. Welcome, Ladybug. I'm probably repeating names, but that's okay. Hey, there's Dry Heat. Welcome. Just going down. Wow, the chat is absolutely flying. Hank Hill.
Ladybug says she's not a Beatles fan. And I have to say, there are times when I can't listen to them. And there's parts of them that I can't, like I cannot listen to Beatles for Sale anymore, and I can't listen to With the Beatles. But even though you may not like them, they decimated 50s music and they decimated country music. The world was shaken when the Beatles came because all of music then was rock. And other people were, I mean, if you talk to anyone in the Nashville area at that time in the 60s, they'll tell you like they were scrambling.
Gee, Marco's Images, getting back to what we started talking about, he makes a good point. He says that Billie Eilish did record the album in her brother's bedroom. So
wait a second. Give me just a little more time. Mike Heath, I think that's the Foundations. I could be wrong, but look that up. I think it's the same band that does Build Me Up Buttercup.
Hey, Fruitcake Tony. Christina Smith. There's a new name. Welcome. Edwin Crane. Music Therapy Laz. Hank Hill. Oh, man. Half Ace. Wow. Fabulous Disaster. Hound 36 Solo. Gary Holt. Weedy Guitar Studio. Chicken Guitars. Oh wow, and it just jumped on me. Jerry W. wanted 31. David Ennis. All right, folks. If I miss you in the chat, just tag me. If you've got a question for myself or Dave, actually just tag me, even if it's a question for Dave, because I'll keep an eye on that.
Oh, hold on a sec, Krellbar, you're right. It is the chairman of the board that sings that song. Give me just a little more time. The foundations of the song was baby, now that I found you, I can't let you go. Ah, that was racking my brain.
Jamal,
that's a good one. Good stump, Mike Heath. Good stump.
Jamal Kareem, Mike Rohde, welcome, guys. Yeah, so that pretty much, and then then talking about maybe something that we're a little more familiar with, some of the big rock releases that came out this year. The one that everybody was talking about, and I was never into this band, and the biggest one everybody was talking about this year was the Tool record that came out. I don't know if you're into Tool.
I liked one record, the album that had Prison Sex and Sober. That was it. I didn't care for Maynard's voice so much. I'm trying to think, did I see them live somewhere? No.
Yeah. Tool came out. Did you hear Ozzy came out with the single, which I did not like at all.
You mean the song that he does with that cat with Post Malone? I almost said Pogue Mahone.
Post Malone.
Do you know what Pogue Mahone is?
I don't think I want to know what that is.
It's Kiss My Ass in Gaelic.
There you go. Yeah, Ozzy came out with some new stuff. Slipknot, which I tried to get into Slipknot, but I can't do it.
Love them.
I can't get
I would say check out the All Hope Is Gone record. That was my favorite of theirs. I think they're a great band. But yeah, I like Slipknot. I also like the other band he does. I am a dominant.
Something sour.
A Stone Sour, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And what's I got written here? Alter Bridge came out with something this year.
Oh God.
I can't get into Alter Bridge either.
Horrible. I mean, there's nothing there. That's good. Yeah, I hear Corey Taylor's a good guy. I love Slipknot. I think Slipknot is probably the best metal band besides the Deftones to come out since 2000. I'm a big Deftones fan too. Yeah.
What do you think of Korn? They put out something this year.
Well, I used to play with the drummer in Korn, Ray Luzier, and Ray's phenomenal. In fact, if you ever listen to my podcast with John, the Guitar Talk with John and Dave, at the very end, there's like an outro that sounds like Survivor. And that was me, Howie Simon on bass, and Ray Luzier from Korn on drums doing it for a film. It was a cue for in a movie. So we had to sound like Survivor, and that's what we came up with.
So
Army of Anyone was the band Ray was in before that. And before Army of Anyone, Ray played with David Lee Roth's band. And then before that, he was in Metal Shop, which was Metal School and now Steel Panther. But he wasn't in it when they changed their name to Steel Panther.
Spencer Cron is saying Post Malone is that a new brand of fertilizer?
Sounds like a breakfast cereal. Oh, is that Post Malone? It is. With 3 scoops of craisins.
Yeah. And then there's, next year there's all this stuff that has been announced and is going to happen. And it's almost like, because there isn't anything, I guess, let me be fair, for people of our age, new that we can latch onto, the old bands that we grew up with, they just keep coming back out. So you got AC/DC putting out a record.
Right, with Brian Johnson again.
With Brian Johnson, with Phil Rudd.
And Phil Rudd.
Bass player whose name escapes me right now, who quit and is now coming back.
Oh, Cliff Williams.
Cliff Williams, thank you. And
I heard they were exhuming Malcolm.
Well, they're exhuming Malcolm's recordings anyway, and so
Oh, right. Oh, that's what they did. He recorded stuff, and that's what they're going to build it around, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's some jewels in the rough there, and they're going to have to cut out of that.
Look at him throwing ladies' room references. You're such a jewel in the rough. But now you want to show me your stuff.
For my
money. Throwing out Kiss references, folks. I do apologize.
Yeah, well, speaking of bands that are keep going.
Right. Yeah, Kiss's farewell tour.
End of the road, folks. 2020, April, they announced it. No, not April, not 2020. Is it 2020? No, I think they're going another year or two. I can't remember. Until they drop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Until they drop.
But you know, and the Stones are still out playing.
And Motley Crue.
Well,
right. Swore up and down. We wrote a contract. We're not going to do it anymore. Oh, thanks, Chicken Guitars.
Very cool.
Appreciate that.
So, yeah, I mean, you got the Rolling Stones going out and touring. And I love the Stones. But when you think about the Stones, I mean, that's another band. You know, in the 60s, they were a very different band from what they were doing. And, you know, from 65, they were a very different band from 75, which was a very different band from 80.
All the trends, eh?
They did until Steel Wheels. What was that, 89? Then Keith kind of got to Mick and was like, listen, stop following the trends. Let's just be the Stones. And after that, everything was great. I really got to say, I dig them.
So you got these monster tours coming out next year. You got Motley Crue that's going out with Def Leppard and I believe Poison.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's a concert I won't be. I'll be absent that day.
Yeah. Well, I saw Motley Crue open for Kiss.
Yeah.
A few years back, and you know, there's a lot of people that are out there that are staying well beyond their ability. Like they're at the buffet too long. And Motley Crue, I'm afraid to say it, and it's usually because of the singer, because that's what's going to go, right? Guitar players can play guitar until their fingers fall, but singers.
Oh, doesn't he have a disease too?
Well, he can't move. His entire spine is fused together.
Right.
So he just stands. And when I saw him, he was already like that. He just walked around a little bit, kind of stood in one place. Mick Mars, right?
I just got to say, Motley Crue's first album I really liked, Too Fast for Love. Shout at the Devil, I was like, this is not going in a good direction. There was some songs I dug on it, and then the rest I didn't care for. And then when the Theater of Pain came out, I was like, I'm done. Done.
Theater of Pain was rough, but I liked Shout at the Devil. I thought those first two records, and then when they went Dr. Feelgood, they just started to sound like everybody else at that point, you know, because they got the big production, because all those records sounded the same, right? The Aerosmith records sounded like, you know, the Motley Crue records. Now they were all going, it was Bob Rock, they were all going out to Vancouver, and they all had that very similar, you know, it basically lost its edge.
You know what I thought was very interesting? You're a guy my age. Do you remember Hanna-Barbera cartoons?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not even going to go into how I went down this rabbit hole, but all of a sudden I'm watching a commercial from 1977 for Cap'n Crunch.
Right.
And the voice of Cap'n Crunch, I'm like, I know that voice. This guy's voice is ingrained in my head. Like I know it in other voices. So then I looked them up. People who are friends with me on Facebook would have seen it. You could have seen it, but you didn't. But the guy's name was Doss Butler. Mm-hmm. And he did the voice of Yogi Bear. He did the voice of Wally Gator. Remember Wally Gator?
Okay, yeah.
And he did the voice of Snagglepuss. And he did the voice of Hokey Wolf. He did the first Barney Rubble. The guy was great. What I thought was funny was the guy was saying when they were talking about doing, well, first of all, when he was doing Hokey Wolf, he sounded just like Phil Silvers. When he was doing Snagglepuss, exit stage left. Right, even. They were saying he was doing Burt Lahr, who was the Cowardly Lion. That was
right.
And then when he was doing what was the other one? He was doing Wally Gator. He was doing this guy Edwin, who was like an actor of years gone past that nobody would know. You'd have to Google Edwin.
Mhm.
But the thing is, it's really cool. Here's a guy who's our childhood voice that does all these voices of cartoons, and he's doing old actors that no one even knew existed. And then I thought to myself, in 20 years, you're going to have the exact same thing. Everyone's always going to know who Jimi Hendrix is, but somebody's going to get really into Mike Bloomfield or into these sub things that won't hold out on time. And they'll just rip them off and have a big career.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was thinking. Yes, Edwin was in Mary Poppins. Excellent headstock.
Yeah. So you got that big tour happening, and then Judas Priest and Iron Maiden are getting together.
They're doing their tour again because they haven't toured together, I didn't think, since like 82.
Well, they're supposed to tour next year as a double bill. And with Judas Priest, I said earlier about the singers losing their Rob Halford. I've seen him twice within the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He still got it. He is the exception to the rule.
Hold on. Bruce Dickinson sounds fantastic live.
I haven't seen Iron Maiden. I didn't say he did.
I've seen him a bunch. He's phenomenal live.
I see Alford live, and he still has it. Bruce Dickinson, I haven't seen.
Yeah, but the only thing about seeing Judas Priest is Tipton won't be there.
And Glenn won't be there.
No, that's Glenn Tipton.
Or sorry, KK Downing.
KK Downing won't be there.
Yeah.
What was the original drummer that was a pedophile? He won't be there.
I forget his name. I like the new drummer better anyway.
No, of course he's better. I mean, the guy from Judas Priest. Yeah. That's interesting who's touring. I it's too bad that Rick Ocasek died.
Yes.
Because they could have done something good with another person subbing in to really redo what they originally did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Elliot Easton has always been one of my favorite guitar players. That guy's amazing. Those lead breaks and all those Cars songs are like textbooks.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
Great.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
And the other band I wanted to mention too, just to wrap up here with the older bands coming back, is Deep Purple is putting out a new album in 2020.
Who's playing guitar?
I'm thinking Steve Morse.
So it's not Deep Purple. I mean, even though I like Steve Morse, people want to see Deep Purple. They want to see the Machine Head. Who do we think we are? Crew.
Yeah.
Are you a Deep Purple fan?
You know what? Not really. I never got. I
had a feeling you weren't. Just when I said, "Who do we think we are?" and your face was just like,
there's I don't know. There's certain bands that I just don't. I never got it. I never got Purple. I mean, other than a handful of songs that that's kind of cool. I never got Purple.
Yeah. I think the offshoots of the band were better. I enjoyed Whitesnake more, and I enjoyed Rainbow more.
Whitesnake, Whitesnake. Like, I mean,
they both came out of Deep Purple, so.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, and I'm one of those guys. I mean, you mentioned Rainbow. Rainbow for me, that's Dio, right? I like Sabbath with Dio better than Sabbath with Ozzy.
Sabbath with Dio, Heaven and Hell.
Thank you so much, Upside. Appreciate that, man.
Is one of the greatest rock albums of all time.
Which
in fact, on my podcast with Joe Morgan, I even said I'd take Heaven and Hell in my top 5.
You know what? I would lean more towards Mob Rules. I kind of like.
All right, folks, and that's all that. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on,
Mob Rules is a great album. Country Girl, Falling Off the Edge of the World. You know who produced those albums was Martin Birch.
Who?
Martin Birch produced those records.
Yeah, that's the Iron Maiden guy, right?
Iron Maiden and also the Deep Purple guy.
Yeah. Mob Rules, there's not there is not a, some band, every album will have filler. There's no filler on Mob Rules, man. Every song kicks. Sign of
Who
the
is your
Southern Cross, Country Girl.
Oh, Country Girls, Voodoo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tony was on fire, man.
Yeah. That had a different drummer though. Bill Ward wasn't on that album. They had Vinny Appice.
I was just gonna say, even that record that they did with Vinny Appice, Dehumanizer.
Right. Well, they came back and reunited that version of the band.
And then they just did the one record, but that record also is not as.
Have you seen Vinny Appice?
Pardon me?
Have you seen him?
Have I seen him live?
No, have you seen him? You know what he looks like?
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I want to go, oh, hello, my friend, hello. He looks like Neil Diamond. I just called to let you know I couldn't sleep at all last night. Like Neil Diamond, what are you doing behind the kit? Get up here. Do Sweet Caroline with these guys.
Oh, don't mention Sweet Caroline.
No, the song's an abomination.
I
just think that Brother Love's Traveling Salvation show wouldn't have gone back over with the crowd.
The gig I did last week, man, before we even hit the first note, they were already screaming out Sweet Caroline. It's like they wouldn't shut up until we played it.
I had a woman ask me the other day, can you play Sweet Caroline? I said, how fast can you get back to your seat? You're going to need to time it.
Oh, we did it.
Oh,
let me just say hello to some of the more people that popped in here. BC Rich 581, welcome. Oh man, everybody's popping in here. Gary,
Tony Iommi, Ricky Compton. Tony Iommi is a monster, and not to disparage or to slight the Aussie stuff, but I think the first album, Paranoid, I think Volume 4. I'm not a big fan of Master of Reality, but I thought Volume 4 and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath are up there as some of the greats. Sabotage is a very good album. And then the next two records, not so much.
Music Therapy Laws, welcome. Tony Iommi, I was just somewhere, he won some award, I don't know from where, like as being the best heavy metal guitarist. I just saw that, and I can't remember who.
Well, he's technically the father of heavy metal. I mean, anytime you talk about awards like the best, you know who the best heavy metal guitar player is, honestly? Whoever's in my CD player when I'm listening. That's like, you know what I mean? When I listen to Dave Murray, I'm like, when Adrian Smith takes a solo, I'm like, it's so great. Yeah. When I hear Glenn Tipton solo, I'm like, nah, that's the shit. Then I listen to MSG, and I'm like, Michael Schenker's got it. Then I listen to Uli, and I'm like, it's Uli. I mean, it's whoever I'm listening to is who I like.
Well, I think in terms of riffs, he's the guy. I mean, the only guy that's got.
Oh no, he's a monster. He's the father of it all. I mean, he's like
the two big riff masters are Jimmy Page, and Tony Iommi. Those two. Oh
yeah,
they made there's no more riffs to be had. These guys.
I was saying, when I listen to Tony Iommi, he's my favorite player. When I listen to Ace Frehley, Tony Iommi's my favorite player. Just kidding, Dick.
Well, Ace Frehley had his day.
It's an old joke. No, I love Ace.
His day ended sometime in 1979, unfortunately.
I have to tell you, though, in 96, I saw them at the LA Forum, and Kiss comes out. In the middle of the show, Ace comes out and starts playing a solo. And it literally sounded like he had a hockey glove on his left hand. I'm like, what the hell am I listening to?
Yeah.
It was like a comedy of errors. I couldn't, he had to have just been out of his mind.
Probably.
Hey, Dan of New Jersey is here.
Hey, welcome, Dan of New Jersey.
Now, if you haven't noticed, Dan of New Jersey has hyphenated his name so you can see it clearly.
He had to go and make his name harder to type in the chat. Thanks, buddy. Oh dear Lord. Yeah, so that kind of summarizes it. Next year it's going to be a great year for us folks, because all the people that we love are all going to come back out. But my problem with that is they can't do what they did,
Hold on, before we go on. Tony Iommi, people in the room and you, Hack, what's the most iconic riff that he ever played?
The first riff that comes into my head is actually Voodoo.
I can guarantee you there's nobody in there that's going to type that.
But that's
no, I love it, but I don't really think of that as a riff. It's like then again,
the pacing of it. It's perfect.
Sweet Leaf, Iron Man. I see. I would think it's Into the Void. Just that. Oh, just monstrous. Obviously, it would have to be like War Pigs or what's the one that goes boom, doom, 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 doom? Oh, Jack the Stripper before. Yeah, Wicked World's cool too, Krell. NIB, there's a good one. Bow now, 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 bow now, 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 now. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I like his Dio riffs better. I just do.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. The Heaven and Hell is one of my all-time favorite albums. I tell you, I could be in the worst mood, angry as hell. If I have headphones on and Neon Lights come on, all is good in the world. It's the greatest feeling song. I remember, what is that? Oh no, here it comes again. Oh, it's just great. It's such a good album. I think that has to do with our age too.
Falling Off the Edge of the World. Oh my God.
I feel like I'm closing the door.
Yeah.
I know that album all too well.
Save me.
It's a fantastic record.
And and the drums and the sound of the record is great. I mean, it sounds so big and heavy.
Yeah. Like, Upside Down makes a good point. You could listen to the whole albums.
Yes. Yeah.
Except for Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. Then it's hard to get through a song. Although there is a song, I think it's called Dirty Women or something like that on. It is in the middle when it does the nobody ever told me I found out for myself. There's that whole section that they stole for the middle of I Don't Know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? You mentioned that. Let's keep going. Diary of a Madman, the first Ozzy record.
No, Diary's the second.
Second, what's the first one?
Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz. Those two.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, I like Diary better.
Any song. It doesn't matter. They're all incredible.
Diary's my favorite. SATO, Flying High Again, Tonight. Now I'm back out on the street again. Oh, I love it.
Is that on the first one? I don't know what's on the first one.
That's all on Diary. First one is I Don't Know, Crazy Train, No Bone Movies. One is Suicide Solution.
Yeah.
Mr. Crowley. Revelation, Mother Earth.
That's I love that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Heaven is for heroes.
That guy, when he met Randy Rhoads, man, that guy hit a pot of gold right there.
Oh, it was what do you call that word? I'm blanking. But anyways, it was amazing because you have Ozzy, who had no career, now has a great career, and Randy, who was playing in that awful Quiet Riot. I mean, I don't know if you've heard those Quiet Riot albums with Randy, but it's like, geez, if I was any part of that family, I'd be like, bury those records, will you? He should have said it on before he went on tour. If I die, make sure those albums never see the light of day.
So, because I always wondered that, because the Quiet Riot that I knew was the Quiet Riot after Randy with Carlos Cavazo when they made it big, Mental Health and all that. So, all those songs were post Randy songs. He had nothing to do with the
Randy. Slick Black Cadillac was a Randy song.
That was okay.
That was on an earlier record. They went and re-recorded it.
Yeah. I saw Quiet Riot live,
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, I saw there was a big monster concert. I was like 17.
Serendipity was the word I was looking for, by the way, folks. It was serendipitous that they two found each other and saved each other's careers.
But there was a big monster concert. They called it the Heavy Metal Hurricane. And there were 4 bands, right? And it was it was Quiet Riot was like the headliner was obviously the Scorpions, right?
Hold on, BC Rich is saying something. They weren't actually. It wasn't until they got signed to Pasha Records with Metal Health that guy pushed on them to do Slade songs. They hated Slade.
Yeah, they didn't want to do that song.
Yeah, well, they did too. They did the album after that. They did Mama Mama, We're All Crazy Now.
I remember them. It was an interview or something, and it was Frankie Banali saying, "Yeah, we went into the studio and they wanted us to do the song, and I just played this stupid beat because I didn't give a shit."
Yeah,
the band came in and they loved it, and it became what it became.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I like Slade. Remember, see
thanks,
chameleon lying there in the sun. All hail to everyone, run away.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Grumpy Mike. Yes, I will have a cigar. Appreciate
Grumpy
it.
Mike doesn't appear to be so grumpy.
Metalhead Hippie is here. Oh, the Tone King hit 100,000 this morning. There you go. He hit it. He made it.
Hey, congratulations.
Awesome.
That is great.
HK is here. Half Face. Crowbar. Sorry if I'm missing folks. The chat's flying. If you want me to see your comments, just please tag me. And I'll, or if you have questions for Dave, and I'll pass those on. That'd be awesome. So yeah, so there was 4 bands. It was Quiet Riot. It was Scorpions were headlining. There was a band that you probably never heard of called Battle Axe. They were
a Canadian band.
Canadian band, and yeah. I think the other one was Helix. Those were which is another Canadian band.
Helix, I remember.
But you know what? When Quiet Riot came out, like we were all kind of scratching our heads because like Kevin Dubrow doing like a Broadway shtick thing with Carlos Cavazo following him around playing. He would say something, Carlos would play something, and we're kind of like, what's going on with these guys? Like just play the songs, you know. They were a little weird to see live.
Them and Twisted Sister, I never cared for. I always thought like, how did these guys get a deal? And nothing against any member of any band personally. I just didn't care for the music.
I never got into Twisted. That's one of those. You remember I said there were bands I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I didn't get Twisted Sister. I got Motley Crue. I loved Motley Crue back in the day. I saw Motley Crue their first show ever in Toronto, and I almost got killed because it was general seating. You know what happened at the Who in Cincinnati and all that.
And of course, the Tramplings. That was 79.
79. This was the same thing. They opened the doors, Dave. They opened the doors. My feet didn't hit the floor until I was halfway in because it was just a mass of people.
So what you're saying is you hit the ground running, chain.
Kind of like that. And I stood in front of Mick Mars the whole night, and I could feel my eyebrows singeing from the. Yeah.
I mean, Motley Crue, like I said, when Shout at the Devil came out, I was like, there's a couple of good songs on this record. I hated the Helter Skelter version.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
Not really, no. I thought it was kind of like...
You didn't like Danger? I thought Danger was a great song.
No, like I said, there were some good songs on the record. There were some good songs.
Yeah, Look for That Kill, and that's a crazy riff. And what's the other one? Too Young to Fall in Love. I thought those were good.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. And, they did that Us Festival in 83. That was interesting.
Yeah, in the daylight, they don't come off. You got to, they got to be in, on a darkened stage.
Yeah. I thought Triumph was pretty good for a while.
Yeah, that's another band I never really got into was Triumph.
Really? I thought the Never Surrender and Allied Forces album were excellent.
Yeah. Well, Rick Emmett is a monster, friggin' great player, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, Janice, I like Dee Snider. I think he's got a great personality, and he comes across like a real bright guy. I just don't care for his voice, but I also think he's a humble guy, and he takes criticism. He seems like he's cool. I got no problem with him. I just think that the band is not. I don't care for them.
So Ladybug's saying you've not been to a rock show until you've had your eyebrows burned off. Yeah, it's about right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, when I saw Kiss, man, they had those flash pots going like crazy.
How you doing, Chris? Yeah. Oh man, I go back to some of those shows.
Brian S is saying Dee Snider laid waste to Congress. That was back when him and Zappa,
Frank Zappa,
and I think Ted Nugent all had it, and and John Denver had to go in front of the PMRC, the committee that they put together for what a waste of time that was. Yeah.
And that was a badge of honor. If you got that sticker on your record, you probably sold more records.
There's a great Frank Zappa song called Frank Zappa Meets the Mothers of Prevention, where he plays the recordings from the committee while he's putting it to music. It's very fun.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
so
it's really fun.
That pretty much wraps up my list here.
Alrighty. Let's talk some gear.
Yes. So we can start with
Gibson.
Start with Gibson. So this year they relaunched everything basically. And they took out a lot of the models that, because they were making way too many guitars,
Sure,
many variations, slimmed it down, made it simple for everyone. Here are our 50 standards. Here are our 60 standards. Why are you laughing?
50s, you mean the year? I thought you meant like they slimmed it down. Here's 50 standards. Like,
get them while they're hot.
Here's 50 different models, all called a standard.
Yeah, no, there's 50s, the 50s, the 60s, and then they kind of just went back to basics, so to speak, right? You know.
Yeah, good idea. Ricky said he's going to buy that duelist pedal. We'll get to pedals shortly.
Yeah.
Go on about your Gibson.
No, and so they did that, and you know, they still have, obviously they're still doing the custom shops, all the RO R9s and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And they brought back a lot of models that, you know, people really liked. You know, like the Les Paul Juniors, they brought back the double cuts, all that.
Yeah, they're just bringing them back at a price point that I think is too outrageous. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, what, Dave, though, they're cheaper than the 2019s.
What are?
So the 20...
I want to know, how much is it going to cost me for a double cut Les Paul special?
A Les Paul special? A Les Paul, yeah. I don't know the price of the special. A Junior, I do know the price.
Okay, how much is it?
Junior, the price in Canada is $8.99.
Okay, but that's not a real Junior. That's the new, we're making you a cheap knockoff Junior. The real Junior is going to have the bound neck.
No, it's none of that.
I'm just telling you what a real Junior has.
Well, no, I'm saying that what I'm talking about has none of it.
Right. It's a stripped down. No, I get they get those stripped down models. Yeah, but
the P90 dog ear. That's it.
It's just way too expensive. If I want a special double cut, the guitar should be $1,300. It's a slab of wood with a neck. I mean, it's nuts. And then for them to turn around and say that's $3,900 because we only make that in our custom shop. Great. That's why I don't have one. Not only, and it's not even a question of affording it. What am I going to do with it? Got a $3,900 guitar. I'm going to take it out and play it. I don't know.
But what I was saying to you though was the last year, like the 2019, the last run of their standards. When they released the 50s and the 60s, they were less expensive. So at least in Canada, the 50s and the 60s guitars are actually $400 less.
Okay, well, how much is a Les Paul standard?
A Les Paul standard here
on Sweetwater right now. Does anybody know how much a Les Paul standard is?
It's about $32.99 here.
Not a custom shop, but a Les Paul standard.
I'm talking Les Paul standard in Canadian money.
Yeah, well, the only way they're getting that kind of money out of me is with a gun and a mask.
They used to be $37.99.
Well, that's just so stupid. Anyone that would have paid that money is out of their minds. If that's just a regular USA. Oh, Guitar Pit is saying he might think it's down at $2,500. Les Paul standard. Sweetwater. Let me just see what they're selling it for. Those are classic, standard 60s, $24.99. Oh, okay. You're telling me Canada prices.
Oh, I'm telling you Canada prices.
Yeah, $24.99 is still on the high side. I mean, the thing's probably worth $18.99. Thanks, Dan, and whoever said it before.
You know, I'll look it up for you right now.
Yeah, totally. Gibson just has that problem of they think they're doing something really special. And I remember, I'll throw in a gun and a mask. Exactly. And I remember when Gibson used to be like, we do everything the old way. We do everything by hand. We do it like this. And oh, really? Well, if you did it by machine, you could drop the price, because I could give a shit how you're making it. If it's made well, it's made well. Like when people are like, oh, they use CNC. Oh, that's good. There's great tolerances with that. What do I care that you're sitting there carving the wood, taking 10 times longer to carve a simple piece of wood and then charging me 3 times the price?
I'm just looking up the, yeah. So Les Paul standard, either 50s or 60s, is $32.99 Canadian. So I was right.
Yeah.
Right. So with our tax, like I would basically be dropping almost $4,000 to buy one, because our taxes would be $3,700. That's what it
You'd
costs.
also be dropping your shorts. That's that's insanity. It's just too much for a Les Paul.
Yeah. But like I said, it was more before. It was more before.
Well, that's even more insane.
Yeah.
That's not even more insane.
Right. So they did come down. Is it enough coming down? No. It was a high to begin with, yes. But the fact remains, they still came down.
Let me ask this question. How much was a Les Paul, do you think, in 1958? Well, 59.
Probably $500, $400 or $500.
$375. And now, how much is $375 in today's money? $9,421. I guess they were always overpriced.
There you go.
But actually, that's what like a 59 Les Paul, what they charge out of the custom shop, out of their minds.
So the 2019 double cutaway Les Paul Jr. Tribute.
Yeah, the Tribute's a cheap model.
Right. They actually, I said $8.99.
Yeah.
Now it's $7.99.
Canadian?
Canadian.
That's probably $5.99 here.
Right. And the one and if you want like a 57 Les Paul Jr. single cutaway, or a 58 Les Paul Jr. double cutaway.
Yeah, I like the double cut.
Okay, the double cut, $4,599.
Yeah, that's insanity.
There you go. That's what they go for. At least. Yeah. So that's basically what they did. So it was more going back, thinning out the herd, and I'll tell you, at the NAMM show, they had the best booth out of anybody in there.
Well, because you're a fan of their guitars.
No, because it was the biggest, best looking booth at the show. Period. It's whether I like the guitars.
No bias here at all, folks. The guy with the Gibson hat is saying that the Gibson booth was the best looking booth.
It was. It was the biggest footprint there for guitar.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I wasn't there. I don't know.
And they laid it all out. It was keep in mind too now, right? It's like we're talking, of course, you have the Gibson.
This is Summer NAMM we're talking, right?
Summer NAMM. And then you had the Kramer table, right? Row of Kramers, you know, and then they had the you know, the Epiphone, row of Epiphone. Like it was
They've done wonders with Kramer. They really have. Way to buy a brand and not do anything with it for years. And still nothing's going on with it.
well, they're re-releasing basically the guitars, the models from yesteryear that were no longer available. They're now coming out again.
Right, but the thing is, you got to get somebody like, okay, Jackson's. How many artists out there today play Jackson? There's plenty. There's plenty of metal guys that play Jackson. Just go to their website. They'll list like 40 guys.
All right.
Who's playing a Kramer? The answer would be nobody.
Twisted Sister.
Exactly. I'm just saying. Yeah, thrash metal and Fun Riffs plays Jackson's.
There you go.
No, but the point is there are guys out there playing Jacksons. You know, and that's why and people are buying Adrian Smith plays a Jackson.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, yeah. Is it him? Who's got one of them has a oh shit. Is it I think it's Adrian Smith. He's got a signature model.
Yeah. He has a signature Jackson. Dave Murray has a signature Fender.
Yeah. That I remember picking up that guitar, and that was a bloody heavy guitar, man.
So, but I'm saying is these guys have artists that are playing it. That's how you get young players to want to play it. You know, when a young guy grows up today and is like going back listening, because, you know, like a lot of kids who are into metal, you know, listen to Metallica and they listen to stuff that was in the video games. And then they go and they're like, oh, well, that guy plays, you know, Kirk Hammett plays an ESP and what's the other guy? George Lynch plays an ESP, and Warren DeMartini plays a Charvel. He's got a signature Charvel. Those sell guitars. They may not sell the signature model, but they sell the brand. Just like Slash and Jimmy Page sell Les Pauls.
Yeah,
you know,
I really like Charvels, man. They're really good guitars too.
Yeah, they're nice guitars. I mean, they're decent, but I mean, anyone can make a Super Strat. I mean, to me, to pay the money of Fender for a Super Strat, you can have G&L can make you a Super Strat. And if you want to spend way too much money, go to John Suhr. He can make you a Super Strat. Jim Tyler in the Valley in California will make you a Super Strat.
Yeah, G&L doesn't really have much of a presence. I don't see them up here. Few and far.
They're poorly run. I'm going to be honest with you. I've told you know, I've had many conversations with them, and I think they're poorly run. I think they live on the laurels of they have a story, and their thing is sell the story. The story is Leo started this company, and he went big deal. Leo Fender's not even a guitar player. I don't care. Like Leo Fender, you can say whatever you want to say about Leo Fender, but if it wasn't for Buddy Holly on Ed Sullivan playing that Strat, nobody would have bought a Strat.
It was Buddy Holly. It was Dick Dale, who Leo designed. Dick Dale was the guy that pushed Leo to design the bigger wattage amps. It was actually Dick Dale.
All right, you're giving me agita. I did a NAMM show one year next to Dick Dale. The guy wouldn't turn down. I'm like, this is going to be the death of me.
But
it was just...
yeah. I just read a book about chicken.
Yeah, but you say that like that's a good thing. If you asked anybody in this room 3 Fender amps you could have, how many of them you think are going to say 100-watt twin? Well, the early twin was an 85-watt. The 85-watt twin, I don't think anybody is. They're going to say a Princeton, maybe a Deluxe Reverb or a custom Vibrolux, the original one.
But what I was getting at was you're talking about.
Yes, he is Krellbach.
What you know, the prominence of the Strat back in the day and why it was like selling like hotcakes. It was Buddy Holly, but it was Dick Dale and that whole surf thing, and then the Beach Boys picked up on that.
Yeah, but it was also cheap.
And then you see them playing Strats, and that's sort of what sort of built up the brand.
Yeah, but it was cheap. It
was from there, yeah. And then
yeah, I mean the Les Pauls didn't take off till later. And Les Pauls were already out of production when they started getting popular. It was like the mid, like 66 when the Les Pauls started getting some love.
Yeah, in England of all places, right? Once Clapton.
Well, some of the guys in England, Mike Bloomfield here was playing one. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it was Clapton and then Jimmy Page and no, Jimmy Page was later. It was Clapton. Shit, who else?
So Joe Harvey's saying the modern Jackson JS series are great. Well, Jackson's whoa, Ryan, it didn't come today? That's weird. I'm going to look up.
Welcome, RMG 471. Yeah, somebody was wanted 31 Hank Marvin in the UK for Strats, making them popular.
Well, Hank Marvin was given to him by don't tell me his name. She's just a devil. Cliff Richard. Cliff Richard was the guy who brought the first Stratocaster to England, and he gave it to Hank Marvin because he was his guitar player.
Yeah.
All
right. So what after
well, still going about guitars here. I'm just saying there's a lot of different. So you got Gibson, you've got Fender who came out with the Ultra series.
Fender came out with the big Ultra series not too long ago.
Yeah, which is a waste of people's time. It's just just a waste. There's everyone's trying to make something that's exciting, but nobody's willing to change anything. So it's like, and I thought the Elite series Strats were pretty cool. I would never buy one because I don't want a C neck that feels like a thin C with regular frets, but it had some features that I thought were pretty cool. So what do? The cool features they get rid of, and they go back to the regular shit baggery, and then sit there and it's like, here we're gonna have, but we have new colors. Oh wow, this is really ultra, and we tweaked our pickups. Oh, that's so great. Let me give you my credit card here. No, it's terrible. And I'm a big Fender guy. I love Fender guitars. But I just don't think they offer the right stuff. They don't make the proper selection for people. They make plenty of stuff people who want a shallow C neck with nickel steel frets, medium jumbo frets, and shitty pickups. There's an abundance of them on the market. I tell people, buy a cheap Mexican, swap the neck with a Warmoth neck, stainless frets, and for under $1,000, you'll have better than their custom shop. Yeah, Hendrix was a Strat player that brought it to prominence.
Sure, yeah.
But Hendrix is a whole 10 years after. I mean, I'm talking about
50s.
57, 56, 57 when when Buddy Holly was playing one.
Hey, Zach Thong. Yeah, when they wiped out, this is going back a few years, when Fender wiped out the standards and started calling them professionals, what was the actual difference?
There wasn't. They came up with new colors. They may have changed the fret wire. No, I think they always use 6105s.
The reason I ask is the standards were, at the time, you could buy a standard. I'm talking Canadian money, of course. I think around $1,200, and then all of a sudden,
they were like 13 back in like 2012. Or maybe they were, because for $9.99 you could buy the what was the other USA that came with a gig bag? What was that series called? And they had the tellies, and the tellies had the original ashtray bridges.
I'm going to say Road Worn, but probably not.
Oh, nice, Ryan. No, not the Road Worn. They were called the Specials.
Okay.
The Strat Special.
I could have sworn I only paid about $1,200 for my standard.
What year did you buy it?
Well, you're talking like I didn't buy it in a night. I bought it it's probably 7 or 8 years ago. Like,
Oh, okay.
a couple of years before and the reason I noticed it is I went back and it's like, oh, well, we're discontinuing the standards. Now it's a professional and it's an elite. And then the prices all of a sudden just went up.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
They went up $300-400. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, how is this different than my standard?
It wasn't. It was a different color.
You know? So, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
almost, it's almost like more of the same now with the Ultra, right?
the Ultra is terrible. It went backwards from what they did with the other one. So yeah, I mean, you're better off buying used. I'll tell you, on any guitar, you're better off buying used. Just, you're going to get a more reasonable price. Let somebody else take the loss.
Yeah.
That's what I think anyways. So you saw I had that show with Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
Those Morgan amps are something to think about. They're really nice. You know, it's a boutique amp.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we were talking about like those Fender Vibroluxes, and man, those are like, I love the amp. I hate the noise. Yeah, I think used is the way to go. The only thing you can kind of get away with is pedals. You know, not buying used.
Well, or yeah, well, yeah. You get lucky sometimes, though.
Even the losers. They get lucky sometimes. Sorry, I'm on. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Did you buy the Joyo Tube Screamer?
Not yet. I got to look into it, but I'll tell you, here's my issue.
Uh-huh.
The Tube Screamer, I'll have guitar A and through amp B, and I'll hit the Tube Screamer, and I get a nice boost, cut, you know, a decent amount of sound increase, dB increase, and I can be heard, cut through, whatever. And then with a different guitar and a different amp, I hit it, and all I'm hearing is a little bit of an EQ shift, but I'm not getting the volume. And I don't.
Okay.
I got it cranked.
Let me ask you. So a Tube Screamer's real beauty is if the amp is pushing a little hot.
Well, we're talking offline. Like I set my amps on the verge of breakup. So I'll have the Tube Screamer. Oh, I see. Like I'll have a gain. I'll have an overdrive on.
Yeah.
And then I'll hit the Tube Screamer.
Ooh, why are you hitting the Tube Screamer on top of the overdrive?
Because I'll hit it. I'll have a dirty rhythm, and then I want a lead sound. So I want a little bit, a little more volume, and I want that mid cut.
I would suggest a treble boost.
A treble boost would do it.
That's what I would suggest. Something like the Silver Solo.
I'm almost thinking about taking it off the board because I've got a Spark Booster. You familiar?
Or the AC boost. Yeah, that's a treble boost.
The Spark Booster is just a clean boost.
Yeah, it's a treble. Well, it's got an EQ. Doesn't it have a tone knob on it?
No, not mine. I got the Mini.
Oh.
Clean boost. I'm thinking about just putting that in.
Do you have an AC booster by
No. So that's why I was saying maybe the Joyo would work better, but
Joyo's $30. How can you go wrong trying it out?
You know what? I've mentioned this a million times on my channel, but it was you that told me to get it. Remember when I was talking about the Timmy, and you said, "Here's a Timmy clone."
The Kayleen.
Holy crap! Is that a great pedal?
Yeah.
I use that for my sort of not like my low gain, right? Where I just want a little bit of crunch. You know,
the great thing about the Timmy is if you want to buy a regular Timmy, it's $100. If you want to buy the Kayleen, it's cheaper. And if you want to pay $400, you can buy the Veruvum in Japan.
Yeah.
But people are cloning it. Like the only pedal that really was tough to clone was the what's the pedal? The Centaur. What is that thing? A Klon Centaur.
The Claw, yeah. And
that's because he covered it in goop, so people couldn't rip it off. But people People figured out how to take it off. And these guys that make boards can look at it in 2 seconds and be like, I get it. I'll go make you a clone. So these like guys like make the Kayleen, they're just taking the circuit from Paul Cochran, sending it off to China and saying, make this. And it turns out it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's Chinese components, and who cares? At the end of the day, you got a cheap pedal that sounds good.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I think the problem, like, because I use that on my board, I gig with that thing. And some people worry about, it's a reliability issue, right? Because it's going to be, it'll sometimes work, sometimes won't. Maybe even the button itself is going to crap out if you hit it too hard or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've been, when did I bought that thing? Last winter, I think. And I've probably done about at least 25 to 30 shows with it, and it's never failed me. And I'm telling you, I take that thing off the board, and I'll, because I'm always messing with stuff.
Sure.
And that thing always seems to find its way back. It's like I have no other pedal that does the light crunch as good as this, because it cuts, man. It cuts. And
Dan of New Jersey says he's a Rockbox pedal. He's a fan of them. The Rockbox Boiling Point, I think, is the best type of tube screamer pedal there is. It's expensive.
I can imagine. Yeah. And you were saying Timmy for $100. When I was searching out Timmy's to get one here, they were going around $300. The ones I was finding, right? It's like,
I don't know. He still makes them. I think he's a Nashville guy. They're like $130 new, and you see him everywhere here for $100.
Yeah, not here, man. Not here. Yeah, that pedal. I mean, it's funny because I've got pedals that are like $300. I got pedals that are $40, like that K-Line. And
right.
I mean, they all sound good, and one is just as reliable in my experience as the other.
Right.
Yeah,
no, I mean, that's the whole point I'm saying is some people are like so brand loyal and everything else. Whatever works. Like some people will sit there and say, oh, this amp's the best amp. And I'm like, that's cool that you like it. I mean, just because I don't like something, and sometimes like on my channel, because I don't know how many people on your feed here go to my channel, but on my channel, when I'm very vocal about, like, I'll be like, that sucks, or that's not for me, whatever it is. But in the end of the day, I really don't care or think so, because, I don't know if you know who Alan Hines is. So Behringer or Bugera gave me an amp called like a V22 years ago, like in 2011. And I played it for a little bit. I'm like, this thing sucks. It sucks. And then I go out and there's a show and Alan Hines is playing and he's using it. And I'm like, his sounds effing great. You know what I mean? And this guy loves that amp. And who's going to knock Alan Hines? The guy's a monster player. But if somebody asked me what I think of that amp, I'd say that amp sucks. Alan Hines, who's a monster, is going to say it's great. Good for him. If when I go to Alan's guitar channel, I can listen to him say how good it is. That's kind of my thing. It's like I'm also trying to be somewhat entertaining. It's like because people don't really say their feelings on the internet too much. Everyone's trying to be too PC.
Well, I tell people what I think about different, like my thing was I had a Hot Rod, everybody's favorite amp, right?
Sure.
Hot Rod Deluxe.
You mean like that one?
Yeah. Like, okay.
I love it.
Okay, you love it.
I do. And I know plenty of people that hate it.
I hate it.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that do. The
Right?
same respect as I would take my Hot Rod to a gig 9 times out of 10. Well, I take it every time over what you take to a gig. And I know guys here that take your amp out to gigs and love it. It's not my sound and it's not how I want to hear myself. It's just a funny thing. Like Bingham's going out and he's playing a Dirty Shirley. And that might be his sound. I don't know if I've played a Dirty Shirley, but I have a particular sound in my head that I want to hear. So that's why I love those 6v6 sizzly amp sounds. And
Right.
but yeah, I mean, it's like, but I played plenty of pedals and dealt with plenty of people to tell you what I think sucks and what I think's good.
My issue with the Hot Rod Deluxe is, and if you go on, you search,
Sure.
you're going to, and you want, okay, what's the best pedal platform combo? Hot Rod Deluxe all day long, right?
For the money.
For the money, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, Hot Rod Deluxe all day long, and that's what I need, right? I play in a cover band. I use pedals. I need the variety. I can't just, I can't be a purist, okay? So, and I had one for that reason, and I was plugging my pedals into it, and it sounded like something was missing. It's it's almost like sounding like AM radio. It's like, what the hell, man? I'm missing all these. I'm not getting the brilliance. I'm not getting all these frequencies. I'm missing all of this stuff. And then I would take the same board and I would plug it into a DSL, and everything would just come to life.
Yeah. You want an amp that's doing some of the work. Guys who like the Hot Rod Deluxe don't want the amp to do the work.
That's fair.
And that's when I'm using my board that I use for that. So when I play my Night Train, my Vox Night Train, I keep that on the edge, kind of the way you would your Marshall.
Right.
And it's a different sound. So like when I do that, then the Tube Screamer sounds fun. Well, I use the Duelist by Kingtone. So, but yeah, so it's a totally different animal of what you're expecting to hear is what people like. It's like anything else. Like I comment on Fender's guitars and people get all banged up who are like Fender fanboys and they're like, I like what they do. I'm not telling you, and in my comments, I'm not saying don't stop doing what you're doing. What I'm saying is you don't need 75 versions of Vanilla Ice Cream. Like this here is a Warmoth Strat, right? This is a Warmoth body, DiMarzio pickups, ebony fingerboard, stainless steel frets, V-neck, 1 3/4 nut width, 10 to 14 radius, Dan Smith headstock logo. It's what I want. Why can't out of 7? But so if a company's making 75 models, how come they can't even come close to that? You know what I mean? The USA shop can make it, and that's what I'm saying when I rip on Fender, and I'm like, they need to make more than 75 vanilla guitars.
Yeah. Like I know the sound that I'm looking for, which 9 times out of 10, I just love the sound of Marshalls.
Yeah.
Right? They just have a character that when I play if you handed me a Strat and you had a Fender amp and I'd play it through the Marshall. I don't want to hear it through a Fender amp. I want to hear it through a Marshall amp.
Yeah.
I think it sounds better through a Marshall than a Fender. And I know
now, folks, you're going to find this crazy here, so just ignore these amps. I'm the opposite. I don't prefer Marshall.
I do. Yeah.
In fact, like that Mesa, I also have a Mesa here, a single rectifier.
The dual rectifier is a beast, though. I've played on it.
I have a dual, I have a single, I have these 2 Marshalls, and I don't know if I would ever even use them. They're more like collecting dust, and that's fine. I got them real cheap on Craigslist, and I figured I would hold on to them for a bit. I use the Hot Rod Deluxe. I have a Crank, which I really like. But I prefer a clean pedal platform. I like a 6v6, like a Princeton or a 6v6 amp. I like the early sounds of somebody plugging like a 335 into a 57 Tweed for the Kid Charlemagne solo from Larry Carlton. I love that sound.
Right.
Love it.
Right. Yeah, Merrill J's got it right. We like what we like. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is everybody likes what they like. So, people always ask me like, hey, and I'm like, what do you like? I don't know what you like. Like, it took me a while. I would say as a young player, I would never play like an old Fender style Princeton. It would be the most boring sound for me. It would be like I'd want to hear, like when I was a kid, I bought the rectifier. The dual rectifier was like, when it first came out, I'm like, that's my amp. I bought it. I played it. Then I got version 2. I love that sound. Then I stopped playing metal so much and was doing country stuff and other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I got to have a more open platform amp. And I love those players, the guys like Steve Wariner and Brent Mason and, all those guys that play those clean amps.
Yeah, I was a Fender guy, yeah. Hutch from BA, welcome. Justin Cox in Utah, welcome. Nice guy, Eddie. Whatever you play, make sure you're playing authentic. There you go.
Yeah. And so like I say, when I'm on my channel, I'm very vocal. So I'm vocal about Gibson. I make comments about it. And I'm friends with Mark Agnesi. I mean, Mark's a buddy. We work together. John and I used to work with him.
Let me let everybody hear on a little secret. I don't know if you even saw the video, Dave.
I don't think so.
Okay, so when I went to NAMM, Summer NAMM, Mark Agnesi was there, and I met Mark Agnesi, and I mentioned your name.
Uh-huh.
And I told you this.
Yeah, you told me that you mentioned my name.
Yeah, and he said, "Oh, how's Dave? Yeah, I know Dave, blah, 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 all that kind of thing, right?" And the following day, when I went back, I wanted someone to give me just a walk around of the Gibson booth, and all the different brands, not just the Gibsons, but the Epiphone, everything they had there. And nobody was going to do it, and they were telling me I had to talk to the marketing person and this and that, and they were giving me making it all like, because I was going to put it on YouTube, like it was just odd. Anyway, Mark Agnesi is sitting there. And I walked up to Mark Agnesi, and I don't know, it's because I spoke to him briefly the day before or whatever. And I said, "Hey, Mark, can you?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever you need." And he walked me through, and everybody was going on about, "Wow, man, he give you a personal tour." And I was saying, like, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a hell of a player. Like, even on his channel and stuff, you don't really see, because he's playing like when he used to do those videos. But we used to play at the shop, and he can play. He's a good player.
Well, when he used to do the Norms thing, he would always come out with the guitar, and the thing was, he would not just come out with the guitar. He would always play the music that would show off the guitar.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, he's a good guy. He was when he was at West LA, he was taking time off because he was bouncing back and forth to Nashville because he was playing for a country artist. And no, I like Mark a lot. In fact, when Mark left West LA, that was not fun because he managed the Universal store, and I managed. He managed the Universal guitar departments, and I managed the Santa Monica store. And but he was the guy that I could call over there and at least have a conversation about like what like if we needed to talk gear about something that was going on. When he left, it kind of sucked. But a good guy. I'm glad he hooked you up. And no, what I'm saying is on my channel, I mean, I know I'm, and I don't hold back on Gibson because of it. I'm not just gonna call it as I say it.
For your link, can one of my moderators, if you wouldn't mind putting the link to Dave's channel? I have his link in the cards as well. If anyone would like to sub Dave, and you should, because he's got some awesome, really good information, and he does a really entertaining show every Monday that I always watch.
The show's fun, and the show's also on. It's a podcast called Guitar Talk, and it's every Monday, and it goes on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on Google, and it's on the video version of it is on YouTube every Monday.
And we were talking off air, and I may appear on Dave's channel.
Yeah,
once I pick a year.
Yeah, well, I'm on the second podcast that I just started. Yes.
Yeah, a year in music, highlights of a year in music. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it's gonna be probably early 80s.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it'll be early 80s. Because I'm thinking, when was I really into it? Well, the most formative time, and it's probably gonna be probably early 80s.
Yeah. That's fun stuff. It's like YouTube is amazing because you have the ability for people to communicate and talk music. And it's funny. I find myself, because you probably don't know this about me, probably most people don't, but I like men. I like to be manhandled. No,
I was waiting for that, man. You just
I'm kidding. I played keyboards too. And so most of the videos that I watch are more piano centric. Because I enjoy playing keys on the side and playing, and I play bass, and but I think YouTube is great in that respect, that you can share, and that's kind of why I do it. Is like I go and watch some people play piano and pick up some stuff from them, and then I'm like, well, I'll show people on guitar, different things. Like I did that video on pentatonic scales.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up to that, which is also how to play, like, if you're playing pentatonic major, if a song's in a major, how you can use two different scales and cross them and they sound nice. But most people don't think about the tensions and why things work and why they don't. So that's why I did that video, because it came up in 3 different guitar students of mine in like 1 week. I'm like,
yeah.
That's a good question, Joe. So I have a Fender Mustang that I do all the stuff on my channel on. And thanks, HK. And I go in through USB, so the speaker doesn't even matter. And I'll tell you what's a really cool amp if you want something cheap that sounds good for a modeling amp. It's the Vox VT30. It's years ago. It's not a new amp. You could probably pick them up for less than $100. They take a 12AX7 tube. They're great. They sound great. I rehearse with them all the time, and it just sounds great.
All right. Did we want to keep going with the gear thing, or we think we beat up enough on Gibson and Fender? You were mentioning BC Rich.
Yeah, BC Rich is trying to make a comeback. I always thought that BC Rich, other than the Mockingbird, I don't know what they're doing. Motley Crue played the Warlock or whatever. It wasn't my thing, but too many damn knobs. They should modernize. Like, if you want to make a Mockingbird, modernize it. Like, make it so it would have some buttons that you could use today. You know what I mean? One of them's like, this one's your garage door opener. It's like, what?
Yeah. I have very limited exposure to BC Rich. My exposure to BC Rich was
Thank you, Ladybug.
When I
she
was
put up a link.
Oh, when I was a young kid, and when BC Rich was actually Paul Stanley was a BC Rich endorser at one time.
Paul Stanley will endorse anybody that throws something at him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And back then, and I was playing, and I don't even remember the model. It's a model that he played in the Lick It Up days. I don't even know if you would know the name of it.
No.
Anyways, but that was my only exposure to BC Rich, was because back then that was their heyday, right? All those hair metal guys in the early '80s, they were all playing BC Riches. That was their heyday. The Motley Crues and the.
It was even before that. I remember when, like, Craig Chiquiko used to play one in Starship, and the Mockingbird was a cool. When I say Starship, I mean Jefferson Starship, when they were still cool.
Yeah, well, you're going okay. Yeah, way back, like oh shit,
Find Your Way Back, and
what's his face?
Jane was a great song.
Oh man, trying to blank. Neil Giraldo. That was his main guitar in the early Pat Benatar days. That's what he was.
Yeah.
Bruce Kulick was playing the Mockingbird back in the day.
Dave is from Boston, Jerry. No, Gene Simmons played Cher, not Paul Stanley. This is Gene Simmons from Kiss. I love Craig Gass, who does that. Yeah. This is Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Yeah.
Did you hear my Mitch Gallagher impersonation on the podcast? Mitch Gallagher here from Sweetwater. Today we're going to talk about how you can sound like. I'm like, I put that guy on. I could be the most active with a cup of coffee. As soon as I hear Mitch Gallagher talking, I'm like,
he's got some really good artist interviews, though. Come on.
No, he's probably a super nice guy. That really voice, though.
I'm trying to remember who
Mitch Gallagher here. So today when we talk about Sweetwater, we're going to do. I'm like, oh my god.
Todd Rundgren. I saw one recently where he interviewed Todd Rundgren. Like, he's a really good interviewer.
HK, I love Echo and the Bunnymen. That album called Echo and the Bunnymen is great.
I remember Echo and the Bunnymen.
I have not met Steve from Boston, although I do believe he's probably about 3 miles from me. He's very close. I do know where he is, like town-wise, so I know he's close.
I've been to his house. He doesn't know.
Yeah, right. Well, he used to work. He's talked about in the past that he used to work for a store, and I believe he worked at that store when I bought my Kramer Pacer back in, what was that, 1986. Yeah.
There you go. You got your wrench, Ladybug. No worries.
Well, I'm not saying I know where he is. I just know like people who know them. Don't I, Krell? Thank you. But yeah. I don't know him. I just know what town he lives in, and I know he's in the next town from me.
Right. Well, we're at 9:35. I think we should start wrapping this up. So if anyone's got any questions for Dave.
All right, folks, let's see. Start your questions. Chat. Anyone like any hybrid amps? Like I said, Joe, the hybrid amp that I was talking about is the VT series Vox. It's a great practice amp to bring it. It's just great to schlep around, leave in your car. It's a solid state power amp with a 12AX7 preamp. I like Mitch too, HK. I'm not saying Rich Gallagher here for Sweetwater. Today we're going to talk about Jimmy Page.
Have you ever tried those Vox Minis? Those little tiny...
No.
They actually sound not bad.
They're toys.
They will surprise you. I did it.
Hold on. Everyone in the band... I'm not... is anyone aware of the band Satan Zanus? I don't know. Hey, Bobby Lopes is here.
Hey, Bobby Lopez. I went
Bobby, I can help you with that. I actually Hack is pretty good with some wiring.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And he can wire that right in there for you.
You got to use the good switch though, so you improve the tone of your guitar and open your garage.
Yeah, Edwin, Steve seems like a real cool guy. Yeah, he seems pretty funny. Like
what do you think of the Patriots videotaping the Bengals? I got to dig into that yet. I just heard that.
What happened?
There's another Patriots controversy that they recorded the Bengals. I don't know. I don't know the details at all. I just heard the headline, but I got to dig deeper. But apparently they're in trouble again for cheating. So.
Oh, okay. Wait. So I want to read what Joe Hervey says. Do I think the tube section is adding that tube feel? I think it does something to the gain. I do think you're going to hear it in the gain stage. It gives it a little bit more compression, if that makes any sense. But it sounds good. But in a modeling amp, can I get that from this thing? Yeah, they're all the same. I mean, is it mind-blowing what it's doing? No. Is it better than a Spider? Yes.
What are your favorite songs to play on acoustic guitar? HK is asking.
So I play in a band called AM Station. We play all like AM yacht rock, and I love anything that has interesting chords. So recently, what have I been playing? Neither One of Us has been one of my songs I've been playing lately by Gladys Knight. I like all the Little River Band stuff.
Oh yeah. Air Supply.
I love Air Supply. I'm all out of love. So Jerry, behind me you have a Marshall JCM 900. The model is a 2100, and there's the cabinet that goes with it. And then this is a JCM 2000 DSL 50.
Welcome, Tessie Switch.
Hey, Tessie.
Thanks for popping in.
Well, if the Patriots are cheating, it isn't helping, is it? They haven't been doing so well.
And you don't know how relieved I am.
Why? You don't have
Man,
a team up here.
you know what? Give somebody else a chance. I want to see the Saints win it all because they got.
The Saints are going to be. They're my NFC pick this year.
Yeah,
I love Drew Brees, but
Me
I think
too.
the Pats are going to win another Super Bowl. Sorry,
Really?
I do. I just think they're too tough to beat when it comes to playoff stuff. And this will be Brady going, let me get 7 and get the hell out of here. I just think that's what's going to happen. He's a very, very greedy bastard. No, I'm just kidding. But I think he will pull it off.
You think it? Okay. If he does, he'll probably retire. But if he doesn't, you think he'll go longer?
One more year. If he doesn't win, one more year.
One more year. Yeah.
Oh, are they playing now?
Ravens and the Jets, but yeah.
Yeah, well, how could the Jets? How the Jets can't beat the Ravens with even if they invited another team on the field?
No, of course not.
But yeah, so guys, and also pedals. I did want to bring up some pedals.
Yeah,
Tell me what's been your favorite pedal?
My favorite pedal?
Give me one good, one bad that you've got this year.
My favorite pedal this year is Lawrence Petros Design 74.
Nice. And what's it based on? Is that based on like a 74 Marshall?
Yes. Yeah. It does that. It does that.
What is the 74? The JMP, right? Yeah, the JMP.
I believe
it's a 1959. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think what was the amp because the gain stage amp didn't come out yet. That came out 2 years later.
Yeah, it's
all right.
I mean, you
Krellbach says he knew you would say that.
Yeah, it does. I love that 70s rock crunch, that Aerosmith kind of,
Sure.
Think Toys in the Attic, right? Anyway, I love that tone, and that pedal does it in spades. And you can play like the Judas Priest stuff from the 70s.
Sure.
Sounds great.
Even though, what was their amp that they used? They were using
Judas Priest in the 70s?
Yeah.
I know they're all, as far as I know, Marshalls, but don't ask me what.
I think they're 2203s.
2203?
I think.
Yeah.
Because I think when they went to the 800s, they said it was the same amp. And I think it was the 2203s.
So Krellbar says it kills. So my favorite pedal was my Plimsoll by Full Tone. And here's why I like the 74 better, Krellbar, because it cuts. The Plimsoll is a great sounding pedal.
It doubles as a pair of scissors.
Yeah, it cuts. Like the Plimsoll is not. If I was a one guitar band, it'd be fine. But two guitars, the 74 does a better job. Hey, Miss Kitty, welcome.
And what about the worst pedal? Because everyone always talks about good pedals. Let me hear you badmouth a pedal.
The worst pedal.
Interesting, Jerry. Hey, Jerry, if you have a Marshall DSL, are you trying to overdrive the drive? Because I'll tell you, a great pedal for that to overdrive a Marshall sound is the Silver Solo. Let me tell you who it's by. It's a treble booster. It's basically a clone. It's Daredevil Effects. It's called the Silver Solo Boost. That's what all the guys in the 70s were using. They were using those treble boosters in front of the Marshalls.
Right. What do they go for?
It's like 150, I think, or $200. You can buy them used. But if you want something like that, really what you're looking for is something you can get. I'll find something for you. It's a clean boost that you can. It has a hearer gain on it. The AC booster works awesome too from Exotic Effects.
I really like the Spark booster for a clean boost. I think it's great.
Well, let me just say the best pedal, in my opinion, for this year for me was, and everyone knows who's been to my channel, I talk about it enough. The Duelist by Jesse Davey, Kingtone. It's really great. It is. If you're looking for a tube, what's great about it, it's a double pedal, so that one side's a tube screamer, and it has extra, like when it's at 50%, it's at a tube screamer at the max. So then you have all that extra gain. But also the other side is a blues breaker pedal, and you can use it as a clean boost, like a treble booster, or you can use it as a heavy drive pedal. It's really great.
Can you stack them?
Yes, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's a great pedal. Worst pedal of the year that I've seen this year. This one I have to think about.
Well, my pedal.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you a pedal I've been disappointed in. Everybody always talks about Analog Man's Prince of Tone. And there's a guy around here that plays it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, I don't like that sound of his amp. And I go over to see what it is. And he's like, isn't that great? It's the Prince of Tone. And I'm like, no, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, mine isn't new, but it's the one I was telling you.
HK, yes, they're based on the Rangemaster. All right, so what was yours?
No, I mean, it's not a new pedal, but the Tube Screamer, the mini Tube Screamer is pissing me off.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the Ibanez, it's an Ibanez Tube Screamer?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, Ibanez never manufactured the Tube Screamer. That was the big Tube Screamer. It was always Maxon.
Mm-hmm.
Maxon had a licensing deal to make the Ibanez Tube Screamer, and that deal ended in 2002. After that, Ibanez started manufacturing it on its own, and Maxon started releasing it under their own name.
Right.
So if you're looking for like the real old classic Tube Screamer, buy a Maxon. That's what I say. Or buy a clone that's a knockoff of someone that's actually making it true to spec. And the Jesse Davey one is just phenomenal. The Duelist is just great. But the Ibanez stuff to me, I never was really. Yes, Maxon, Max off.
Max on, Max off.
Yeah. The Maxer. The Helix is good, Joe. The Helix is a great. Someone said, yeah, the CMAT Mods Brownie is a great pedal. And I'm a big Wampler fan. I use the Wampler Ego compressor. Mm-hmm. I have the clean buffer. The thing about the Wampler that I don't like is I don't like the what's his brown sound pedal.
I had one, the Pinnacle.
The Pinnacle sucks. It's not good. CMAT Mods Brownie's good, and the Angry Charlie version 2 is really good.
Yeah. I had a Pinnacle actually I traded the Pinnacle away.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. It does one thing. But you have that it does basically one thing. It's not, you can't use it for more than
right. Nice Guy Eddie says the new Tube Screamer, which is like they got a new tube in there. It's like this new tube technology.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a lot of money for something you don't really need. I mean, when you think about it, the guys that are playing, everyone talks about Hendrix's tone and Jimmy Page's tone. They're using old shit, and that stuff was noisy. Today the equipment is much nicer, and then people are going above and beyond to get like all kinds of gear. Yeah, Friedman stuff. The BEOD is excellent.
You were talking about Wampler. Wampler has something called a Tumnus, and I think now they have a Tumnus Deluxe.
The Tumnus is the clone of the Klon. Exactly.
Have you tried those?
I have not. I hear they're good. I think John says he has one.
Yeah.
I have a Matthew Effects clone before he changed the name to the Architect. And I'm not a huge Klon fan. I don't think that sound is all that great. It's a drive. The thing is, it colors in a little bit too much for me. And when I want the drive, I don't want to bring it dark. And even though it has a treble, it just, I don't know. There's something to it that I think I don't care for.
Well, Metalhead Hippie is asking me what my best fuzz pedal is that I've ever used or heard. And oh man, I played one when I was in Arizona, and it was a Lawrence Petros pedal. And if somebody could tell me the name of it, is it the Phoenix? I think it was a Phoenix Fuzz.
Yeah, Krellbot says he's not feeling too well and he has to take a Tumnus.
And this is me playing a fuzz, and I'm a guy who can't stand fuzz. And I actually dug that pedal. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, what's it called?
It's called the Phoenix, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone in the channel know because.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Upside Down is
Upside
saying.
Down.
So
Phoenix Fuzz. That's it. Yeah, that was great.
I have two fuzzes that I really like, but they're very different. One is very cheap, made in Arizona by Mike Vickery, called Vic Audio, and it's the Ram's Head 73, and it's basically a clone of David Gilmour's Ram's Head Electro Harmonics, but in a small box. It's awesome. If you're looking for Gilmour's tone, that pedal's awesome. The other one I love is made by Black Cat Pedals, and it's called the Super Fuzz. And it is the Smashing Pumpkins sounding fuzz. It's a Univox clone of the fuzz.
Are you a
And
Fuzz fan, Dave?
No.
Yeah.
But I have them because when I do gigs, if somebody says, "Hey, we want you to do a song," I want to get that tone. Like if somebody says, "Hey, we're doing a Smashing Pumpkin song," I want them to turn around and go, "Man, that sounds just like." So
Yeah.
I have it on my board.
Yeah, I don't do any fuzz tunes. Yeah. Fuzz is what I try to avoid. I don't.
You don't like fuzz, huh?
No, don't like fuzz.
I think you'd be surprised how often it's used because, like the old guys, like Tony Iommi used fuzz.
Yeah, that's what.
And you don't even realize it's on those records. And it's funny when you have to go start evaluating sounds. Like on my channel, when I do like the solos, when I play like classic rock solos or metal, whatever it is, whatever solo I'm playing, I go and I listen to the record and I'm like listening to it going, I wonder what they have. And so I try to imitate it on my amp. I do all the editing on my amp, and I'm like trying to imitate it. So I'm like, and it's surprised how much fuzz comes across in some stuff.
Well, what I understand is fuzz is something that it's almost like it's a tool that you got to learn how to use appropriately. And I just haven't really sat down and tried to dial in tones because and then fuzz is, from what I understand too, it's real picky. I mean, and you can't just throw it in front of any amp. One fuzz will sound good with one, another will sound good with another. It's that kind of thing, and you got to blend it with others. I just haven't spent the time and.
In front of a Marshall with a little bit of gain, the fuzz sounds nice, especially if. Did you ever listen to sludge metal?
Very little.
Like Electric Wizard.
I'm thinking Caius.
Oh, okay, like bands like Electric Wizard, where it's like they basically are bringing back the old Sabbath sound. That's all fuzz. It's a big stack amplifier.
Yeah.
No master volume with fuzz on it. It just sounds monstrous.
Yeah, well, Metalhead Hippie, bro, I probably did Metalhead Hippie. If you dialed it in good, I probably did. My rat pedal.
The rat is kind of a fuzzy pedal.
Yeah.
There's I mentioned Vic Audio out of Arizona. Mike Vickery also makes a rat clone in a small box.
Yeah. Now, if you got somebody who knows how to dial it in, yeah. But it's not like, and I know guys who will use fuzz for almost like a lead boost.
I'll see. Metalhead Hippie is Monolord, a sludge metal band. What was the band that did Space Lord? Space Lord, mother. Oh. That's like a fuzz tone.
Shit, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It was called
Monster Magnet.
Yeah. Space Lord, mother.
Yeah. It has it's just it's something I gotta dig into.
Yeah, Dave Barber is a very, very cool guy. And his pedals are really nice. My problem with them is the boxes are a little bit too big now for my taste. Have you ever used Barber pedals, Hack?
No.
Yeah, he makes a tone press and the Barber drive that was nice. Yeah, they have like that. It's that metal with that sludge metal sound. You know what I mean? It's like I like a lot of that stuff, like Electric Wizard and stuff like that. I think it sounds good.
So HK is asking, can Dave do some more? Oh, Mitch, he wants you to do the impression. That's what it is.
Hello, Mitch Gallagher here. Today we're going to talk with Tom Petty's guitar player, Mike Campbell, and see what tones he gets out of the... God. Like I said, he seems like a super cool guy. Yeah, Zappa used fuzz.
Sleep. The band
Sleep. That's another great band. Sleep. Yes.
Yeah, it's a good name for a band.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story about David Gilmour. When they interviewed him one time and they were asking him about playing like 13, 15-minute guitar solos and songs, and they asked, he doesn't really do that anymore. They asked him how he liked that. He was like, oh, playing, it's great. I would have walked out if I was in the audience. Because he goes, I can't listen to that. But playing it, he's like stoned off his balls. He's like, all right, I'm just going to keep playing.
Check out Monster Truck, says Gary Tholander. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, folks. So, we're almost going into 2 hours here. So, I want to thank Dave again. Always entertaining to have Dave on.
Thanks. And if any of you guys listen to podcasts, feel free to go on and look for Guitar Talk with Dave and John. Last week we had Joe Morgan, who builds Morgan amplifiers, on the show, and we're going to start having a lot of Henderson, Kentucky. All righty. Oh, we even talked about bourbons, Kentucky bourbons on the last show. About the Buffalo Trace and Pappy. I
bought the Buffalo Trace because of you that one time.
Hey, did you like it?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I still like my Bullet better, though.
You like Bullet, yeah. What did he recommend? Bullet Rye?
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he said Bullet Rye, not Bullet Bourbon, because they do make a rye. The rye and the bourbon are real similar, though.
Yeah, he said. I think he thought it was a little lighter, maybe. Yeah. I like the Buffalo Trace the best for me. Although, what was the other Blanton's he mentioned? That's a nice one. But then you're getting into $80 in Canada. It's like probably $100. $100. Bong Rip is another one. Yeah. Yeah, Morgan amps are great, and Joe Morgan was a great guy. And if you go on my channel, you can watch the podcast, or if you're listening to it, if you like to listen to it in your car.
If someone
Division Bell was awesome tour, by the way. Some of these things go by so fast. I saw that Division Bell tour too. They were great.
Can somebody, one of the mods, please throw in Dave's link one more time? His link is also in the cards. They'll be in the cards for my for the show here.
Has anyone here seen that show, Good Mythical Morning? Anyone ever see these two guys, Link and Rhett?
Link and Missing?
All they do is they eat like foods blindfolded and they got like 20 million subs.
Wow. The LPD Vermin is a great rat type pedal that goes into a nice fuzz. Yeah, I played the Vermin Music Therapy Labs. I played it. Yeah, the Vermin's great. The Vermin's great.
Angels Envy Bourbon from Take Flight. Let me tell you paradise. Anyways, his theme song is Stevie Wonder's Love's Light and Flight. It's Take Flight's music studio's theme song.
There you go. All right, so check out Dave's channel.
Oh, I agree with you. I just watch all the old ones. Hey, great. Thank you, Jerry. Bobby Lopes, good to see you. Yes, Michael B. knew Rhett and Link. Yeah, I think they're entertaining as hell.
Yeah. Hey, Michael B., how are you? So, yeah, check out Dave's channel. Dave's does a regular show every Monday, Guitar Talk, on YouTube.
Oh, Chuck Booth is here.
It's also, HK, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, so check out Dave's channel, Guitar Talk. I got
HK's in England?
HK's in England. Oh,
HK, man. Where are you in England?
It's like 3 a.m. there right now.
While the pound in your pocket turns into $1. This is the 51st state of the USA.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much.
Have a great rest of your week. I may be going on live. I'm not playing Saturday, so I might do a Saturday night thing. I know. We'll see how things go. We'll see how I feel. If not, next Thursday, I'm going to have a special, another show, and I'm going to do a round table with some subscribers. So check out that show. It'll be a fun show. It'll be, I guess, my Christmas show, because the week after that's Boxing Day. So check out that show next Thursday, and I might show up this weekend. We'll see how things go. I want to thank Dave again for coming on. Always entertaining.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. Have a great evening, all. Catch you soon. Cheers.